Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, welcome to the channel. It's your boy Jay here with another video. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. The numbers are in for the month of January, or the first couple of weeks of Donald Trump's administration, and the numbers are shocking to some, but not to others. Let's get to this. This is from Face the Nation. Fair use, fair use.
We begin today with our first assessment of how President Trump and his policies are doing just 3 weeks into his second term. Our CBS poll finds that a majority of Americans, 53%, approve of the job he's doing. That's a better approval number than he ever reached during his first term in the White House. Joining us with more is our Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto. Good to see you, Anthony. What's driving this? I will keep it simple, Margaret. He is doing, in the eyes of the public, what he said he would do in the campaign. There's political value in that. In fact, 70% of people say he's doing what he promised. That's whether they approve of him or not. Now, there's another part of this that continues over from the campaign. There were words that he was described as being tough, being energetic, and he still is today in big majority numbers. So as people take a look in these first few weeks, there's been a lot of activity. They're getting that general sense of governance, and that's being reflected in these early numbers. So that's perception. What about the actual policies? Well, let's start with the ones that are popular. And again, these echo a lot of what we saw in the campaign. The idea of deporting those in the country illegally continues to be popular. We saw that in the campaign. Sending troops to the U.S.-Mexico border, again, majority in favor. We'd seen that in the campaign. For his supporters in particular, the focus on ending DEI is popular. We had seen in the campaign a lot of them thought those processes had gone too far. There are some other things in here that get more mixed reviews. I will add, the idea of the U.S. taking over Gaza is not seen as a good idea. Something he floated at a press conference this past week. He did, but it also gives you a little insight into how people are processing Donald Trump and what he does, because then for a lot of his supporters, they say, well, that's not really his goal. That's a negotiating tactic. And then on tariffs, those are not as popular. Those are things that majority, with the exception of the ones on China. Why? People think it will raise prices. And that's important context here, too, because people are still sensitive to price increases. A lot of them report the prices haven't gone down. Remember that Donald Trump won the election on inflation, and that was a big reason. And what we find now is 2/3 of people saying that they don't think the administration is focused enough on lowering prices. And that stands out as one of those big gaps when we talk about initial preferences, initial expectations, and what's getting delivered. That's certainly going to be something. Well, that's interesting because throughout the campaign, he was abundantly clear that tariffs were something he wanted to use. And we talked quite a lot about possible impact on inflation. I know you also polled on President Trump's work with Elon Musk and this so-called what it is. What do people think of it? Well, exactly on that point, we're all sort of learning this. So I think this will take a while to play out. Initially, you get very partisan responses on the role that Elon Musk should or should not play. You get a majority of Republicans saying he should have at least some influence, though it's more of the MAGA base that really wants him to have a lot, and a lot of Democrats in opposition. You know, part of this is, too, the broad goals of cutting spending, of cutting foreign aid, have things that have long been in the polling popular with Republicans. But in terms of the impact and approach, that may take a while for people to really see it.
Yeah, and this is the thing people need to understand about this whole situation with Doge. Doge needed to be done. I said for a long time that government spending has always been a big problem, especially with what's going on today with the economy and America being in debt and people not really having what they need. Now, the price of stuff is not going. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while for prices to go down, because for prices to go down, you have to see an improvement in economy, and people need to understand it's not a, Trump's going to come in and just fix everything off the break. the one thing that he's doing right with the border and getting these illegal migrants out, I think most Americans approve of that. So I think overall, I think Donald Trump is doing a good job. I mean, could he do a better job? I think he could, but I think you have to give him time, give him, get all his cabinet in order and see what's happening with this federal spending. Because at the end of the day, he brought in Elon Musk to deal with the federal spending. Elon Musk is doing his job. And I think at the end of the day, people will continue to get on board. You'll have a lot of people who won't get on board. They hate Trump regardless. They will hate Trump regardless. They don't care if this man does an excellent job. He brings prices down to a penny. They will still hate him because at the end of the day, it's more popular to hate Trump than to like Trump, especially when you're in the black community. It's popular to hate Trump than to like Trump. So that's why people are upset, because he has a 53% approval rating and they're wondering why. But hey, he's doing what he needs to do. So the second clip right here, I have a gentleman who talks about how people are being misled by mainstream media. I've been saying this for a long time, but this gentleman breaks it down in detail, especially about what the mainstream media will tell you what Donald Trump is doing and what's actually happening. So let's go ahead. I'll leave a link to this guy's TikTok. He has a lot of great information. Let's get to it. Fair use. Fair use.
I ain't gonna lie. These next 4 years is gonna be very hard for the illiterate and the emotional. I've been working all day today, and I'm getting all these texts from people saying, "Hey, did you see this? Trump he's cutting Medicaid. He's cutting Social Security and food stamps and student funding." I'm like, wait, what? Then I get on Facebook, and my entire Facebook is in an uproar, panicking. So me thinking, I'm like, hold on, let me look this up and do some research. So I do a little research, and this is the first thing I see. And it says federal assistance to individuals will not be affected, including Social Security, Medicare, food stamps, student loans, and scholarships. Then I go to the official White House website, and it says the exact same thing. So now I'm like, what the hell is all this uproar about? And then I remember this article, and this is what I think the real problem is. 54% of American adults read below a 6th grade reading level. But it's also a lot deeper than that, in my opinion. I think fear-mongering has really put a lot of y'all in a chokehold. Y'all reading headlines all day, constantly living in fear, easily triggered, instead of just calming down and being logical. Like, it really makes no sense at all. For all the uproar I've seen today, it makes no sense for it to be this much uproar for something that ain't even real or true. Like, before y'all get all up in y'all emotions and crying and blocking people, just do some damn research first.
I've been
because
telling
these
people
media
this.
companies, they know y'all easily manipulated. They know y'all only going to read the headline. So it's in their best interest as a company to make headlines that may be misleading, because they know that's going to drive conversation and traffic to their business, which is going to make them money. So understand that when you see a headline, you got to know it's going to be 9 times out of 10. It's going to be much more than that. But you just got to take the time to read. These next 4 years, they just going to be tough, specifically for people that's emotional, easily triggered, and people that don't like to read.
I mean, what can I say? He hit it right on the head. People don't like to read. People tend to just look at the news, think the news is gospel, and don't do their research. This is the problem that I had. I personally had a problem with this back, I would say, about 4 or 5 years ago. I would watch CNN all day, and I thought CNN was gospel. I thought Trump bad, all this stuff. And then I thought about it. I'm like, okay, I got to do my own research, because when you do your own research and you find out that what they're doing is throwing smoke screens out there, CNN, MSNBC, all they're doing is they are pitching what the corporate guys want. Those billionaires who own those corporations, they want you to feel a certain way about Donald Trump, so they're going to put it out there. So I always tell people, if you see something, do research. If you see a story in the New York Times or the LA Times or Washington Post or CNN or MSNBC, do your own research. This is why I love an app called Ground News, because Ground News will take a story and they'll give you 3 different versions. They'll give you they'll give you the story, but from a right perspective, from a left perspective, and from a center perspective. And you make your own decision on how you want to look at the story. This guy's right. A lot of people read at a 6th grade level, especially in our community. It's sad that the average American only reads at a 6th grade level. And when people know that you read at a 6th grade level, they know you're not going to read the full story. They know you're not going to read the full context. You'll look at a 20-second clip on TikTok, or you'll look at a 5-minute news thing on CNN and think that's gospel. They're not going to give you the full truth, because if they give you the full truth, then people are not going to watch them. They're not going to watch them. Am I saying Donald Trump is an angel? No, he's not an angel. None of these politicians are angels. Not on the Democratic side, not on the Republican side. None of these people are angels, but you need to do your research. And I hope people do their research. Hey, it's your boy Jay here with another video. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments below. On my road to 1,000 subscribers on this second channel. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Until next time, folks, I'm out.